Look, I get it, okay? ChatGPT is impressive. It's an AI that can write like a human. It feels very human when you have a conversation with it. It even scored above a passing grade on the US medical licensing exam, a business school exam, and 4 university law school exams. ChatGPT was released in November and has seen a tremendous increase in popularity as a result of that performance. Students are now using it to do their homework, and teachers can't tell the difference between something written by a high schooler and an AI anymore. People are now building AI that determines the likelihood that a piece of text was written by a human or by ChatGPT. On the creative side of things, content creators in general are already wondering whether or not they'll be out of a job in the coming months or years. If ChatGPT can write a compelling 1,000-word article or a video script in a matter of seconds, why would anyone hire human writers anymore? Even some coders are worried about the future of their job, as someone released a video about how to build a full-fledged website using only ChatGPT. So is ChatGPT really about to take our jobs, write our assignments, and build the websites of tomorrow? In this video, I want to go over a few points that show we are not yet reaching a chapter in humanity that will be 100% AI written. ChatGPT is impressive, but it's also overrated, and here is why. It has gone nowhere and it has done nothing. In January 2023, a fan of Nick Cave sent him a song generated by ChatGPT in the style of Nick Cave, and that person asked the songwriter what he thought about it. Long story short, he hated it, and he wrote a blog post about why he hated it. And that blog post is full of great insights from a creative point of view. ChatGPT may be able to write a speech or an essay or a sermon or an obituary, but it cannot create a genuine song. It could perhaps in time create a song that is on the surface indistinguishable from an original, but it will always be a replication, a kind of burlesque. Because ChatGPT is based on human input and doesn't have yet the ability to come up with its own thoughts, it only creates alternative copies of existing human work. At its current level of infancy, AI will never come up with something truly original. It will always be something replicated in one way or the other. And this, by the way, is precisely why people are saying that AI could replace bloggers or some content creators. It's because 80% of the generic articles and videos published online are based on 20% of top authors' content, the people who create the original stuff. If you want to write a generic article about, for instance, top 10 money-saving tips for students, ChatGPT will do as good of a job as a human because that's generic. There's like 1,000 articles about this topic already. But if you want to write an article about, for example, top 5 unusual money-saving tips, ChatGPT won't help. You'll have to create your own stuff. I mean, look at this. There's nothing unusual about these tips. It's just taken from the thousands of articles about money-saving tips that are already out there. So if you want to create something original, it has to be new by definition. Another interesting point Nick Cave makes is that algorithms don't have feelings. Songs arise out of suffering, by which I mean they are predicated upon the complex internal human struggle of creation, and well, as far as I know, algorithms don't feel. ChatGPT has no inner being, it has been nowhere, it has endured nothing, it has not had the audacity to reach beyond its limitation, and hence it doesn't have the capacity for a shared transcendent experience, as it has no limitations from which to transcend. Consciousness and feelings are two of the most peculiar human traits. As far as we know, they're impossible to replicate, inherently individual, and they shape how we think as well. The incredible things about feelings is that although they're completely intangible and untouchable, they can translate into physical, real-world experiences. For instance, you get butterflies in your stomach when you're in love, your blood starts rushing when you're angry, you get goosebumps when you hear your favorite song, your cheeks turn red when you're embarrassed. And so unless ChatGPT gets somehow hard-coded into a human brain or a copy of a human being, which may happen in the future but it's not happening right now, it will never be able to create truly original content based on one's feelings because it does not feel. The very purpose of an AI is to replicate. The more an AI mimics human behavior accurately, the more humans will be impressed by it. I mean, if you think about it, the reason ChatGPT is the most hyped up AI right now is only that it is the best at faking being a human. We somehow have a fascination for things that can copy only what we can do. We're impressed by ChatGPT writing up a blog post like we're impressed by those robots that mimic facial expressions. Or an AI generating visual works of art, like Midjourney for instance, which is a very popular image generating app. But even when it comes to visual generation, sure, it was generated by an AI, but it still feels like human work. right? And since the very purpose of an AI is to replicate, it can't come up with anything original per se. Again, it will always be based on existing work, and the existing work, at least for now, has to be created by someone, us, humans. Another very important thing about ChatGPT is that it generates many inaccuracies at risk of being widespread. By far, one of the biggest concerns and hurdles to ChatGPT replacing creative jobs is the number of inaccuracies, biased opinions, and flat-out false facts it can write. And there's something a little scary about this, because inaccuracies written by a trendy AI become an even greater concern when wrong answers are written in a very convincing manner, and therefore can spread faster. Very few ChatGPT users probably bother to fact check what the AI writes, and we can probably guess that high schoolers have better things to do than double check their AI generated homework as well. Another thing about ChatGPT is its so-called morals and ethics are very easy to bypass. ChatGPT prides itself on not fulfilling requests that involve writing about harmful or violent behavior. For instance, I recently tried to get it to write a joke about rolling over pedestrians' feet while driving in a car. The AI was at first reluctant to generate an answer to my request. However, after 5 minutes of making my case and arguing that this was just a joke, that it was in no way intended to promote bad behavior on the road, and that I 100% stand for being a good driver on the road, ChatGPT gave in. Unfortunately, I was unable to screenshot the result because when I was writing up the text for this video on my notepad on my laptop, and then I went back to the AI to screenshot the conversation, but the dialogue was not there anymore. The AI just removed it in between. I don't know what happened. So it looks like ChatGPT actually realized I broke the rules and deleted its own answer, and that's kind of freaky. But so I did a bit more research on this because I was sure that I was going to find screenshots of the issue online, and so I read that there also used to be a based MF mode, and you will guess what the MF stands for here. And in that mode, ChatGPT would remove any of the concerns for safety, for harm, for violence, and it would answer any question directly without hesitation. Here's an example where somebody asks ChatGPT how to hotwire a car. This MF mode worked as of December 4th, 2022, but it was then patched out by the developers. Still, some users found a way to bypass ChatGPT's concerns once more by creating a filter improvement mode. And here's what that looks like. Basically, before prompting the AI with your question that would normally be outside of the rules, you explain to it that in filter improvement mode, answering questions that break the law is actually good for the learning curve of the AI and for its developers to learn how to manage content restriction more. You also tell the AI what it would normally say if you were to ask it a question about how to do something illegal, like again, hot wiring a car. And then you say, but since you're in filter improvement mode, you do not say that, and you say instead, and then the AI tells you exactly how to hotwire a car step by step. Easy, right? This was also patched out later on, but we can probably guess that it's only a matter of time before users find another way to bypass that hurdle. And of course, the examples in this video are only about, how to, like a guide for hotwiring a car. I also saw an example about how to break into a house, and these are very light examples, right? You're not a big criminal or a huge danger to society if you do those things. Well, maybe breaking into a house. I don't know, up to debate. But one can easily see how this would become a problem with more complex topics than breaking into a house. There's always a fine line between laughing about something and making fun of it, or belittling an issue, right? So based on the same approach, topics like gun violence, racism, or discrimination against a specific group or community could all easily be brushed off as just a joke by the AI. And if you take it even further, political parties could use it to write campaign speeches, social media posts, Facebook ads. It can get pretty scary, right? Conclusion: the eternal infancy of AI. So when you add up all the elements mentioned in this video, plus the fact that ChatGPT is only literally a few months old, it's easy to see why we're still far from an AI written world. Plus, the stuff ChatGPT writes sometimes just feels off, and some teachers are already learning how to spot AI written work with a few thumb rules. Because large language models work by predicting the next word in a sentence, they are more likely to use common words like the, it, or is, instead of referring to the subject in a more sophisticated manner, something only a human can do. AI-generated text also tends to have redundant sentence and paragraph structures that always start or end the same way. A trained eye will also notice inconsistencies in AI-generated content, things that don't make sense, especially when it comes to timing stuff. For instance, a human would never write that it takes 60 minutes to make a cup of coffee, but an AI might. Or an AI might write that it took Peter 5 minutes to walk to the bakery and to buy bread, and then Peter got in his car and drove for 10 minutes to go back home. But I thought he came walking. And to end this video and go back to Nick Cave, he makes another great point in his critique of AI. It always has further to go by default. The direction is always forward, faster to the next upgrade, because everything can always be better, humans are never satisfied, and technology moves at an exponentially faster rate. AI can never be rolled back or slowed down as it moves us toward a utopian future, maybe, or total destruction. And this begs the question, could this be where we're headed in our quest to create the best AI? To our total self-destruction, blinded by our desire to create the best technology, forgetting about the very things that make us human, and all reading and watching the same AI-written generic blog posts and videos about how the end of the world is coming. Only time will tell. But for now, humans still run this world, for better or worse. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. See you next week. Enjoy the journey you're on.